Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am in a 2023 Dodge Challenger SXT with a 3.6 liter V6. So this was my rental to Myrtle Beach for this entire week, and I've put close to 2,000 miles on it. So I'm going to be giving you my impressions on it and what it's like to have lived with for this entire week. So let's go ahead and check out the outside. So this is the base model. It is finished in pitch black, is what they call this color. And there's literally like one option on this car, and it's the Alpine sound system. Everything else is just base. It's got the base 18-inch wheels, no performance packages, nothing like that. But it's a very good looking car. Yes, it's a V6, doesn't have the Hemi, but it still retains that muscle car shape and look. And boy, does it turn heads. Even though this is a base model and you know it doesn't have all the flashy stuff, I was still getting a thumbs up from a bunch of people driving classic cars on the road this week. They seem to like this car. That's pretty cool. Dodge Challenger is probably one of my favorite cars on the road today. I mean, just look at this side profile. I mean, that is the classic muscle car shape. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I guess I could start off with the wheels and tires. These are the base model 18-inch wheels, and it's wrapped in Michelin Primacy MXM4 tires. Those tires are absolutely garbage. I hate them. I had them on my 2019 Accord, and I got rid of them pretty quick. They don't really do well in the rain. They don't really do well at anything, in my opinion, and especially in Ohio snow where I live. They kind of suck. Something I notice about these tires is that when this car is sitting for a day on like pavement or even on gravel or whatever, these tires will flat spot pretty easily, and you go down the road the next morning and the whole thing's just vibrating, and then working those flat spots out. These tires are terrible. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk real quick. This is a massive trunk, guys, like massive trunk. One of my favorite features about this car, and I believe this one gets a spare tire. Yes, this one has the spare tire and the batteries right there as well. So I was able to fit 2 beach chairs, a beach umbrella, a beach wagon, suitcases, and all my food, all my amenities for me and my wife in the back of this thing. And it fit no issues at all. I'll pop up a picture. I took a picture of what it looked like with all the stuff in it. And there was still plenty of room to put stuff in. Go ahead and check out under the hood. So under the hood is a 3.6 liter V6 mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You'll find this in like minivans and the Dodge Chargers. I mean, it's their corporate engine and stuff. I mean, it's a really great engine. Makes 300 horsepower, 268 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, it's a really nice, smooth powertrain. I didn't have any problems at all with it this week. It's 19 city, 30 highway, and based on my numbers, I was seeing about 32 highway and like 22 city. So I was actually beating the numbers Dodge states. I mean, you'll see on the gauge cluster now that it'll say like 27, but this car's been sitting as I've been filming, so it's kind of inaccurate at the moment. So let's go ahead and check out the back seat. I don't really want to climb back there if I'm being honest, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just for the video. Holy crap. Ugh. So I'm 6 foot. The driver's seat's adjusted to my position of where I would be. I mean, it's kind of tight back here, but it's not that uncomfortable. I mean, you get a couple cup holders and a pull down armrest, vents, and this is soft touch here. You know, this, I mean, it's cramped, but it's not a bad place to be, surprisingly. I'm actually shocked. That's the first time I've ever been in the back seat of this thing. I mean, I still wouldn't want to be back here for more than 30 minutes because of just being cramped and claustrophobic or whatever, but this is really comfortable. If you're a smaller person, I mean, you could easily ride a couple hours in this car. Here's a quick shot of the dash. Hasn't changed much since I think, what, 2015? Looks pretty much the same. Oh my gosh. All right. I mean, getting in and out of it sucks, but I'm very impressed with how comfortable the back seat is in this thing. So in the driver's seat, you get a digital screen in the middle of the gauge cluster there, 2 analog gauges, a speedometer and tachometer, and this screen you can customize, and you know, it gives you a 0 to 60 timer, which we'll test here. Fuel economy, trip info, audio, messages. You can set it up however you want it. It's pretty customizable. This does not have adaptive cruise control, which I'm fine with. and the cruise control works as normal. No issues with that at all. And you do get this 7-inch touchscreen. This is kind of comical, to be honest with you. It looks fine here, but when you plug in like Apple CarPlay, I can't do it right now because my phone is recording the audio for this video, but when you plug in Apple CarPlay, it takes up about like that square right there. So it has the climate bars on each side, this thing on the bottom, and Apple CarPlay is just in this little like maybe 4 or 5 inch square. It kind of sucked at first, but when you get used to it, it's not that big of a deal. But if you wear glasses, I can see that becoming a problem. It's pretty tiny. This does have the Alpine sound system in it. It thumps pretty good. It's got pretty darn clear audio, and me and my wife were enjoying some tunes on the way down and back. No complaints there at all. Here you got your radio controls, your sport button, screen off button, which is so nice to have when you're on the road at night and you don't want this thing glaring at you. You can just hit that button and it turns the screen off. Traction control, your climate controls, 8-speed automatic shifter with the manual shift ability. Couple cup holders here, and a center console with a 12-volt outlet, 2 USB ports, and an aux port. I'm a little bit disappointed to not have USB-C in here. My truck is a 2019 Dodge Ram 1500, and it has USB-C. I don't know why this doesn't. And speaking of phones, there's really no place to put your phone. My iPhone 14 Pro Max doesn't fit here, and I don't want it in here because it'll overheat and heat up and say iPhone too hot to use, you need to cool down before it can use it, whatever. So that's a little bit of a gripe there, that there's no place to put your phone. So keep that in mind if you go ahead and purchase this car. Do have a little Dodge Brothers designed in Detroit here, embossed in the center console cover. That's pretty nifty, neato. Go ahead and put the keys down here for now. You do get a decent sized glove box here with your owner's manual. It's tiered, so you can put probably the owner's manual and stuff up here, and then put whatever you want down there, and then shut it. That's pretty nice. It does lock, which is nice. You get a 12-volt outlet over here. Don't know if you guys can see that, and some netting to put different things. You do get illuminated visor mirrors, and these pull out as well, and have one of these like slider things that pull out, so that is very convenient. Sunglasses holder up there, and a auto dimming mirror. So overall, what you get is a pretty nice package. I have no complaints about this interior at all. All the touch points are soft touch, like all of them. There's no hard plastic in here at all. Like even up here, I mean, you can hear that. It's a little hard, but it's got like a soft like play to it. There's 0 touch points in here that are like feeling like rental car garbage, even though this is a rental car. Very nice place to be. Forgot to talk about the seats. These seats, you do get a power driver seat that just goes forward and backwards. You have to manually adjust the reclining here, and power lumbar. But these seats, I'm not so sure on them. I feel like this is too narrow, and after like 2 hours of driving or something like that, my back starts to hurt. I think that's probably my number one complaint about the comfort of this car is these seats. They're not very comfortable for long periods of time. All right, let's go ahead and take this thing for a drive and see what it's like to drive. I also forgot to mention you do get a backup camera with guidance lines. It's pretty low resolution, but it gets the job done. The turning radius on this is insane. Me and my wife were shocked on how maneuverable this car is. I mean, this thing's huge. I mean, it's about as long as my Crown Victoria, and this turning radius is tight. I was able to maneuver and do turnarounds in these like cul-de-sacs and stuff, or not cul-de-sacs, but like these developments that I got lost in Myrtle Beach, and I could do it without backing up and doing a 3-point turn. This thing's very maneuverable. So overall driving impressions is pretty darn good. I really enjoyed driving this thing this week. It is pretty smooth over bumps. The funny thing is, initially, I thought it was kind of stiff on like a stiffer ride. And when I was looking through the vehicle pages, I noticed the tire pressures were all at like 42. And I'm like, that can't be right. So I opened up the door and looked at the placard on the door, and it said it was supposed to be at 32. So I waited till the next morning till the tire pressures, were cold, and I checked again. It was like 40. And I was like, okay, the rental car company or whoever serviced this definitely overinflated the tires. So I went to my nearest auto parts store and I was like, hey, can I borrow a tire pressure gauge and deflate the tires to normal? And the ride smoothed out, and definitely wasn't as stiff and wasn't as loud. It's amazing what the overinflated tires did. But yeah, like I said, overall, over bumps, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not luxury car levels of smooth, but I mean, for the price you pay for this car, $32,000, it's pretty adequate. It does the job nicely. It's very smooth to drive down the road. Now, like I said earlier, this has the 3.6 liter V6 with the 8-speed automatic transmission. It's got decent power. You really have to wind this engine out to get the most power out of it. I think above 3,500 RPM, the power really starts to build. Not saying that nobody's home down low. It'll move around town pretty nicely, but there's a considerable amount more power and torque above like 3,500 RPM, I noticed. All right, let's go to the 0 to 60 pages. This is the best I've got so far with 6.4, but we'll see if I can go ahead and beat that. I think I got a pretty good chance. We'll do a 0 to 60 right here. We will turn it to sport and turn traction control off, and then we'll turn the air conditioning off briefly, give it some gas, not quite that much, and go. 6.4. I can't break the 6.4 barrier for some reason. But anyways, let's turn the air conditioning back on so my GoPro doesn't overheat. Turn traction control back on and stuff. 6.4, I mean, that's not bad. Definitely has enough power and definitely will get you where you need to go without getting you in too much trouble. Now, blind spots in this car, I mean, you do get a considerable blind spot there with that pillar back there, but it's definitely not as bad as the Chevrolet Camaro. I can definitely see out of this car significantly better than the Camaro, and this car was very nice to take on a road trip. My overall impressions have been extremely great. I mean, I like this car so much, I went to the dealership and I test drove an RT just to kind of compare to them, and I would definitely swing for the RT because the Hemi just sounds so much better and has a lot more power. But that's my personal preference. I mean, this car here, with the V6 and stuff, I mean, it's not bad. I know a lot of people hate on these cars, but like, it gets great fuel mileage, has decent power, tons of space. I mean, with the SXT versus the RT, you're probably going to save a ton on insurance. You really can't go wrong with this car. It looks cool. I don't know why everybody gives these things a bad rap, but they're not. The base model is really not that bad at all. Now, having driven the RT, that was a blast. I really liked that car, and I'm actually trying to find one for myself at a decent price. That car was a ton of fun. This is honestly probably one of the best cars I've ever driven. All right, let's go ahead and see how this thing handles around a corner. Now, this one has the V6, so I'm not sure if the V8 with all the added weight up front makes a huge difference in handling. But like this thing, you can really throw it into a corner and have some fun. I was actually really surprised. I mean, I was going down through the mountains and hills of West Virginia and Virginia, and going around at some of those turns at like 80 miles an hour, and it didn't even flinch. I never once thought that this thing was gonna, step out on me or anything. I mean, it handled the corners beautifully. Man, power really comes on strong after 3,500 RPM. It'll put you back in your seat for sure. Now, I do like how everything in this car is like driver focused. This is like angled towards me. This is all angled towards the driver, and you don't have to reach forward out of your seat to adjust something, to adjust the climate or anything. And that's actually pretty nice. Like the driver or the volume knob and the tuning knob are right there, and it's just a very nice ergonomic layout. You do have stereo controls behind the steering wheel here. On the left side's the track seeking or tuning for your stereo, and the right side is the volume controls. I would like to see paddle shifters on this car, and the RT that I drove did have paddle shifters. They were like weird half paddle shifters, like they only were up here and the stereo controls were down here. I mean, I didn't drive it long enough to say if I love it or hate it, but that was just a very interesting observation. But I would have loved to have seen those in here too. It would kind of make it a little bit more fun. All right, let's see if I can beat that 0 to 60 time. All right, here we go. I'll just floor it right off the bat. Ooh, 6.2. Nice. Cool. Well, apparently launching it is not a good idea. Get a faster result by just putting your foot down. Cool. Well, there you go. 0 to 60 in 6.2. Just, flowing it right off a stop. Well, I guess we could do a quick turning radius test like I do in all my other videos. Just park it here. I'll turn it all the way to the lock, and then I'll do a turning radius test. And this is crazy. This car is huge, and you can literally maneuver this thing around pretty darn easily. I can't believe that. That's nuts. Well, guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot more videos on a bunch of different cars in the future. I should probably get the keys. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys following along, and we'll see you in the next video.